here we are at the beginning of class. Let's allow huge breaths to start to flow in our system. Nice inhales. Good relaxing exhales. A good chance to let our whole system calm. Body relaxing. Body receptive. So the intention that I've thought of for today's class is the idea of looking at things with new eyes, especially toward this beginning phase of the year. There's kind of a sense of freshness, the sense that, okay, anything is possible. I can, if I'm working on running faster, I've got a whole year ahead to make my muscles stronger to get there. If I'm working on, a certain pose, I can do all those little requirements that are built up to get me there. If I'm working on, a new skill, a new hobby, if I'm working on getting rid of a habit, it's like this sense of freshness. And I love that about the first part of the year. Now, part of what I love is that fresh perspective, this idea that maybe before we almost had the intuitive kind of subconscious program that it's like, nope, what I've got is what it is. And now it feels different. It feels like, no, I can shift. I can open up to new possibilities. I can help shape the world in new ways. So that type of freshness, that fresh perspective is really what we're trying to tune into today. So especially in certain things like twists and inversions, I'll ask you to open up your eyes, even for just a moment, to just look at the room, look at your perspective from where it is. And then from that new perspective, sometimes it's like a new sense of curiosity starts to come around. Like say if we're in a twist and your head is kind of gazing sideways at the room, it's like, what if this was the only perspective I ever got? Was just kind of tilting my head sideways. Or what if my head being an inch above the ground was the perspective I had always? And it's just the sense of curiosity, like bringing freshness to where we see, to how we see, really. And so that idea of perspective will be the idea that leads us on. So as we're getting started here, I'd like for us to kind of energetically prepare the eyes for that new, fresh perspective. So take a moment to rub your hands together, creating a little bit of heat, a little bit of friction with the hands. And then from there, place the palms of those warm hands right over your eyes. Feel that warmth radiating around that area. One of the areas we don't often realize that we might carry tension is around the inner and outer corners of the eyes. So if you can feel for a moment those muscles relaxing, allow that to happen. Beautiful. Inhale. Exhale. We'll start to remove the hands. The eyes can be closed at first. And when your eyes feel prepared to open back up, seeing light again, let yourself open, seeing this perspective. It's like a tunnel vision with our peripheral taken out. Imagine just for a moment, what if this was how someone viewed their whole life? Sense of curiosity is all, no judgment. Sometimes that's how life is for people. Good, and from here, let's start to take some of those introductory stretches to the body. Allow the arms to stretch all the way to the back wall. From that stretch, allow shoulders to go to the right. Shoulders to go to the left. Take it back and forth a few times. This allows side ribs a really good chance to open. Shoulders Stretching out. Good. Come back through the center. Take the right knee into the chest, hands clasped around the knee. Oftentimes I'll do a couple of ankle rolls here, loosening up some of the tightness in that right foot. Make sure to include both clockwise and counterclockwise motions. As that starts to feel pretty good on the foot, allow the leg to extend up to sky, hamstring stretch. Grab around the backside of the leg wherever you can reach. Good. Let's take a hip opener before we switch legs. So right heel hooks on back left side of the fabric. It's that end clear past the ears. If you're confused, just peek at neighbors. Like a pigeon pose. You're hooking foot all the way on the back left end by where the ears are.
What?
All the way on the back left end. There, hook it all the way. That's it. Slide the shin in, just let the hip open. Easy breathing as we're allowing right hip to stretch. Allow for another huge inhale. Exhale. Start to free out this right foot, drop it all the way down. Left knee into the chest, a couple of ankle rolls for that side. And that feels good. Straighten leg up to sky, hamstring stretch. Huge inhale. Exhale. The hip opener for this side, like a pigeon pose. Look left heel on back right. And then slide the shin in as much as the knee is comfortable with. Two more breaths. Good. After that second breath, start to free out this foot. Drop it down next to the other. Leave the legs long inside the fabric. Hands grab onto the back end to help us sit up. And from here, we'll take two versions of a back bend. The first version, leave the fabric that's behind you close to shoulder blades. And then lean back into that spot. Let the head drop backwards, back long. Maybe arms open out, maybe not. So this gentle version of the back bend. Remember to keep the eyes open, at least for a moment, imagining this. What if this was my perspective that I had all day, every day? Imagine baby birds and how they're kind of stuck in a little nest on the tree. Their perspective is limited. They can only see so much. That's kind of like where we're at. Good. Grab back on the fabric. Sit up and allow fabric to fall now closer to waist area before we lean all the way back again. Get that back bend a bit deeper than the first one. Maybe you keep the grip to let it be simpler, or maybe the arms open back out as the back bend is not too intense for your body. Again, imagine this perspective, kind of look around. What if this is my world? Good. Gripping back on. Sit up, kick the feet free off the front. Our first true inversion, hook the thumbs onto the back end of fabric. We're sliding that fabric to about where the pant line is, and then leaning back to lock it in place. Hands grip back on. Note if it goes more into your waist, it might be a little bit more uncomfortable, but you can adjust coming in and out later. Last step though is wide legs as you tilt all the way back. Wide legs means you won't fall. Ankles wrap around. As soon as ankles are wrapped, you're safe to release the arms into the inversion. That's okay, you don't have to. Just stay, if you're not inverting today, just stay in the floating child pose, hook the elbows, and just relax forward. You'll just take a little break while others get their chance to invert. Oftentimes, this is the reason we come to aerial, is just for the chance to let the spine drop. Decompression, this beautiful length to the spine.
When you do it with chin to the chest, it like hurts the back of my neck.
So it's not an arch once you get into it. See how her spine just drops? So it's only the arch while you're engaging the core to start heading backwards. Yeah. So it's like, it's what I do is I keep my core engaged while I'm here. And the last step, I just tilt back, wrap, and then you release. So it's not actually an arch once you're in it. So the fabric's a little high on your back. That's why you can't tilt back further. Yeah, so you need to shove it clear down to about where your pants are and then lock it in place as you get back. That's it. Yeah. Just let your hands slide down. Yeah, you're pretty much there. Let your hands slide a little further down and let your knees be a little bit more bent wide. That'll help you wrap the ankles. See how it's more like a frog bend wide? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'll be what helps it wrap. Up. Sometimes it's about growing in trust. I can spot you if you want me to. But sometimes it's just that aspect of growing in trust, because it's like your hands are not letting you go. Right. You kind of have to slip just a little further. So like, it looks like this. It's like I'm here and then I slip down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So there's like, this is completely safe because my legs are wide, but I have to be able to trust it. Yeah.
Too much anxiety, blood pressure.
And that's okay. That's okay. It takes time.
It's going black. I sit back out.
That's one of the things. No, that's okay. That's one of the things about aerial yoga, and that's with this new perspective as well. Part of it is growing in trust, and trust can be a whole new perspective for people. So nothing wrong with that. You just take the steps that you're willing to do today, and then as it gets more comfortable, little by little, more things come accessible. Good. If you're still upside down, maybe take your last 2 or 3 breaths and then head up to our floating child pose. Let the neck roll around left and right, easing some neck tension. As we sit back up, what we're going to do is bunch up fabric to the side that faces us to center of room. Once you've got the fabric completely bunched up, you're locking your arms straight. That gives your hip a little bit of space. So that hip that just got lifted, that's the one that we swing up and over. Remember, lock your arms straight. That gives you some space. Push against it. Nope, you're swinging the other way. You're facing to center. Yep.
This was
Yep. It's always funky the first time, so don't stress too much. When you are here in the wide straddle, go ahead and slip. Oops. That's okay, just keep on trying. When you get here, go ahead and slip your heels into the fabric and straighten the legs out. Wide straddle. It's okay, kind of bend the knee, get it halfway there, and then just finish. Yeah. That's it. Whenever you're in the wide straddle, arms are active, pushing open, so the inner thigh is getting that bonus stretch. And imagine for a moment, what if this was the vantage point that you got all the time? It's almost like the opposite of what we had earlier. Rather than the peripheral vision being blocked out, now we kind of only have peripheral. You can only see that tiny little opening left and right. Just enjoy a few breaths in this spot. Let's start to slide the right hand down the right leg. Left hand reaches up and over, lean. Got the side ribs open. See how you can kind of see through the fabric around you, but it kind of blocks off a big chunk of the world. Okay, so sitting back up, second side, lean toward the left leg, and right arm goes up and over. Good, rising up, bring the arms back onto the fabric, pushing out. What we're going to do is engage and then disengage leg strength. This should allow us to have a slightly new vantage point as we go. So the arm strength is always active, pushing out. When leg strength engages, we use our exhale, inner thighs squeeze together. See how you're seeing a whole new tube opening in front of you? And then release the leg strength, arms press the legs back open. Exhale, squeeze inner thighs. Keep the eyes open to see that vantage point. Inhale, open back out. Take another 3. And open. 2. Good, one more. Beautiful efforts. From here, let's take the fabric down, back down to the knees. We're adding in an easy hip and then hamstring stretch. Your leg that's closer to the mirror, take that ankle and place it right up onto the fabric that's in front of you. Will that hip have a nice chance to open? If you're really tight in the knee and the hip here, lock the arms straight. That makes it a little easier. The opposite is if you're wanting to go a bit deeper, hug around that chin and lean forward. That makes it more. Choose your difficulty level. Huge inhale. Exhale. Get the arch of that foot that's up onto the fabric that's in front of you. You might have to bunch it back up. And And the toes are turning outward just like the knee is. So from here, straighten the leg up as much as the hamstring will allow. It's pretty tight just because we're folded in like a top foot. So it's okay if the knee doesn't go all the way straight. Just let it extend up to the possibility that it has today. And kind of peek around. This is my perspective right now. How interesting. Even how interesting to have a mirror where one half of what we're looking at is just a reflection of the other half. Let's take 2 more breaths for this hamstring. After that second breath, this leg just drops back down, nice and easy. Second ankle comes up, hip opener. You can hug around it, lean forward, or you can lock the arms straight, making it easier. Another good breath goes in and out. Arch of the foot onto fabric in front of us. Lengthen the leg up as much as it feels like it today. Saying hello, hamstring. Good morning. Good to be with you. Perhaps imagine this is maybe kind of what a tortoise feels like. Like it's got the shell around the center and it kind of just has to stretch its limbs out in the various ways to be able to get any sort of movement at all. Let's take one more huge inhale. Good relaxing exhale. So this foot, we free it to mirror side. That makes it so that we can sit back forward. If the hips are off center, you'll need to shift around just a little bit, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, until we're facing back forward. Good. When we get back into the shoulders, let's take a vampire pose. Those familiar with vampire, just go into it. Those that this is completely new, I'll show you first, and then if you'd like to try, I'll walk you through it one more time. So vampire pose is like a shoulder stand. So the fabric that's behind us needs to be one thin layer over the shoulders. You don't want too much excess or it pushes into the neck uncomfortably. So notice how my elbows are capturing all the excess fabric, shoving it down into my waist. So then from here, I'm able to lay back. So I've still got that good safety, one complete layer covering shoulders. I need all that excess that I brought into my waist to go to my feet. So I do that by stepping feet in, lifting hips up, straightening legs out, and that shifted it all down. So I've still got the safety on my shoulders. My hands grip up high left and right. I bring my feet up right above where my hands are, toes turned out. And by pushing into fabric, I'm able to lift upside down vampire. Okay, so if you'd like to try, one thin layer over shoulders. Good. Yep, you've got your elbows pretty good. Here, let me come out and help. So you'll grip a little closer to this spot. Grip right here. Yep, that's it. This will keep it right like a cap sleeve over your shoulders. You hold on to that. Elbows kind of come into the sides as you lay back. Go ahead and lay back. Yep, just like that. Lay back. Good. Now you've got this excess right here. We need to shift it down, so step your feet in. Lift up your hips and lengthen the legs out at the same time that you lift up your hips. You don't have to do it again. Step feet in again. Lift up the hips and lengthen out. Keep on doing that until all this excess is down.
This is the scar.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You can always shift back to Shavasana when you're ready. Just bring the head back in when your neck needs a break. Feel how your own body weight is helping that neck to relieve its tension. The deep inhales and exhales flow. Oftentimes I tend to be in my inversions with closed eyes, which is fine for most of the time. At least for a brief moment, let the eyes open. So again, you could see, what if I was, a vampire bat hanging in a tree? What if this was my perspective? How would I see the world differently? It's kind of a fun anecdote that we sometimes talk about in aerial yoga, that there's very few mammals that don't have arthritis. And these mammals are those that tend to hang upside down, like bats, sloths, things like that. So there's something very curious about letting ourselves flip like this, letting our perspective be changed, letting our heart have that break because we get to just hang. Remember those deep, full belly breaths. Okay, from this point, if you're still upside down, give it that last couple of breaths, 3 or 4 good cycles of breath. And then start heading out to the recovery pose, either Shavasana or straight up to floating child. Good. Those that are in floating child, let's take a bonus neck stretch here. Clasp hands behind back, shift the hands over to the right waist or the right hip. And then lifting the head up, rock the right ear over the right shoulder. Feel how that stretches left neck, shoulder area. Should feel really nice after that massage we just got on the shoulders. Good. So head starts to rise. Shift the hands over to left waist or left hip and left ear to left shoulder. Nice huge inhale. Exhale, head back up, hands release. To exit fabric, we grip on with each hand and then lift the hips right up and out. Allow the elbows to scoop, catching the fabric, and then walk forward until you're either in kind of a leaning forward like a plank position, elbows kind of squeezing back behind you for that pec stretch, or even kind of bowing the belly forward, a little bit of a back bend. You're choosing your difficulty level. You can always play with how much you're planking by walking feet forward or back. Sometimes even while I'm in that good pec chest stretch, I'll let my head roll left and right, just easing some of the tension out of that area. Beautiful inhale. Nice exhale. And Start to take your weight over your legs, a few steps backwards. Free out the elbows. Let's come all the way behind. Grip the fabric on a little wider than shoulders. Let the upper body go forward, hips go backward. It's that huge chance to start stretching the low back, stretch the legs, the spine. Oftentimes the first thing I'll do is just try to focus on the low back. It tends to be just a little bit rounded up because that's how it kind of protects itself. So can you flatten the low back and stick the sitting bones back even further? Maybe belly drops down a little bit. Then sometimes here it feels nice to start swaying. So maybe at first it's just swaying a couple of inches left and right. Maybe eventually you're swaying all the way to front door and all the way to back door. Just listen for what's opening up and loosening for your body, for the shoulders, for the neck. Nice inhale. Good exhale. Returning our way back through the center. Just a moment of stillness. Try to focus on that low back one more time. Get it straightened out even more. Soft bend knees. Roll the spine up. Good. Let's take our right thigh all the way inside the fabric. Make sure you're not standing too far behind plumb line. When I gaze up, if I were to draw a line directly above my head, it should only be 2 or 3 inches behind where that plumb line is. So not too far back at all. Fingers, I like to start off flat. If they eventually need to curl around, try not to keep the grip like a death grip. So it's nice and loose. It's just enough to support us. Warrior one, start to sink the weight of the hips forward. Sometimes I'll even gaze up, viewing that perspective. So how the back opens up. Beautiful. And take the weight over standing leg. Grab onto left strand, turn standing toes to the left side of mat. And sinking the knee forward. Front arm straightens out. In front of you, push the tricep into the fabric. It's behind you. Maybe back arm opens up as well, warrior two. Well, how you have control over this. Sinking forward can feel intense. You have control by just squeezing inner thighs together any amount. Good. So hands return in front of you. Take yourself back over standing leg. Slip down to this ankle. So hips still open to back door. We're still grabbing onto left strand. Let's slide the left hand up, the right hand down. This opens up the chest like triangle pose. So that could be where we stay today. You could sink a little bit more weight forward, like a standing split. It's up to you. Good. If we sunk any weight forward, take it back over standing leg. Grip one hand on each side, turn to face forward. With a high grip, it's a bit more of a splits here. So any amount of sinking your weight forward takes us into that direct hamstring stretch in front of us. Notice how you don't have to do much to feel lots of sensation. That's the best part. Just go to that point of comfort. Good inhale. Good exhale. Weight back over standing leg. We're going to switch sides. You can either switch by taking this leg out, taking the other leg in, or the swinging switch is stepping the second leg in and the first one out. That's okay. What happened there was you bent your knee, and so that sends you forward. Yep, so that's okay. That's okay. Now you know for next time. Straight leg. So we are slipping down to thigh though once we're there. Do the little quick check for plumb line. If you gaze up, drawing a line above your head, it should only be 2 or 3 inches behind plumb line. So fingers up high, maybe just a light wrap, if anything, not a death grip, and sink it forward toward warrior 1. Check out the gaze. Maybe you're going forward, maybe you're taking that arch to gaze up. Good, weight comes back, grip on right side, right toes turn to the right. Warrior 2, so sink the front knee forward, front arm opens, maybe back arm opens as well. If ever you feel unstable, just return hands. Good, hands return, weight comes over standing leg, slip down to ankle. This one's that side opening one, so we're still facing toward front door. We're gripping on the right side, right hand up, left hand down. Either let the chest just open naturally like triangle pose or continue to sink forward like side splits. Inhale, exhale, weight over standing leg, grip one hand on each side, turn the standing toes to face back forward, and we've got the splits, so sinking weight, nice and deep. Good, weight over standing leg. Let's slip this foot out. We're standing on our own. And we're taking it to downward facing dog. So fabric slides about as wide as hips. We're bringing that right up to hip bones. If it's in the guts, it becomes much more uncomfortable. So bring it up to hip bones. I'll usually walk forward a few steps to help start taking some of the slack out of the fabric. Once you've got the slack out, bend at the waist, drop the fingers to floor. And you'll need to take just a couple of steps backwards to be in true down dog with the hips under plumb line. Good, so this is when you get that nice massage right on the hip psoas area. So if this is really intense, this is where you stay down dog. If anybody wants to go to hip hang, the toes can lift, but keep the knees down. Toes up, but knees down, and you can hug around the thighs. So just like any inversion, it's not any competition for how long you stay. If you're ready to come up before others, just come into this nice stargazer pose, leaning backwards. Those that are enjoying it, I'll give you plenty of time, so no rush. Those that are still enjoying the inversion, take those last couple of beautiful breaths here. Huge inhales, long exhales. Eventually you'll start to head to recovery pose, just leaning back, maybe bending one knee, swing the elbows to the bent knee, and then straightening out, switching sides. Give the head a little bit of time to flip back to this upright orientation. We're staying as long as it takes for your body to have felt like it's back to this upright orientation, ready to move on. So when you feel that way, you're walking backwards to stand up on your own, but no sense of rush because you're upside down for quite a while. Okay, so fabric back out in front of us. Take our right ankle back inside. Remember that cue to not be too far behind plumb line. So this one will go back into hamstrings. You can either go straight to splits, or if you want just a little bit of an easier variation, slide the hands down, the heart gets close to the thigh. So whatever you'd like to take at this point. So starts to rise up. Grip the left hand on the right strand. That grip is helping the leg cross on the mat just a little bit more toward the top left corner of mat. Right arm spreads open. This is a nice twist. Even let the chin and the neck be part of it. And by gripping and pulling with that right hand, you should be in outer right thigh as well. Or sorry, left hand pulling to that leg. Good. Next inhale. Exhale. Hands return, one on each side. Slip back down to thigh. Brief moment to slide hands high, taking a warrior one, sink hips forward. The grip tightens up nice and high. It's tight enough that we start to lift up the back knee and softly lower that back knee to ground. Oftentimes we're playing with camel here, so oftentimes I'll tuck the toes just to give myself a couple of extra inches. From here, first we take easy the half camel, so right hand grips on left side. Left hand can either go to the low back or to that heel. Half camel. Look around in this perspective, it kind of faces us to half of the room. We're up. Nice inhale. And exhale, we're switching sides, left hand to right. And then right hand drops down to the heel. This is the twisted version. Inhale. Easy exhale. One hand on each side. With that tight grip again. Step the left foot in front. Slowly slide the hands down. We're laying on our back, catching the right foot in the fabric. So I turn the right toes out to the side to really lock it in place. And let's slide the left leg long on the floor. Hands are on the floor by the hips. Left leg lifts up to sky, and then hips lift up. Hips down, leg down. Let's repeat that, taking another 6, up and up, down and down. Here's 5, and down. 4, 3, 2, last 1, up and up, down and down. Beautiful. Free out the right foot from the fabric. We're going to do a little crunch. So lift arms up above head. Inhale, crunch. Exhale, crunch up, grabbing fabric. With that grip, we plant the feet in front of us. You get to do however many pull-ups you'd like to do to come back up to standing. So lift the hips, do a couple of little pull-ups. When you're ready to come up, just walk the feet backwards to stand. Good arm strengthening going on. Okay, so left ankle in. Make sure we're not too far behind. You choose, maybe hands up for splits, or maybe slide hands down, lean the heart closer to the thigh. Either way, what's gonna help that hamstring out the most for a breath or two? Another huge inhale. Exhale. Weight over standing leg. Right hand grips to left strand. That right hand pulls the leg further to the right, crossing toward that top of the mat. Left hand opens up. Gonna let the neck be part of the twist. Spiraling spine, opening the chest, opening the shoulder. Nice inhale. Exhale, return forward, one hand on each side, slip down to thigh. Just a breath or two, easy warrior 1. Let the fingers go high, sink some weight forward. The grip starts to tighten so that we can softly lower the right knee down to floor. Maybe tuck the back toes for those couple of extra inches. So first it's the open chest version. Left hand grips high on right strand. Right hand goes to back heel. Or just the low back is fine too. That's always the variation you can take. Good. Circling right hand up. Grab high on left. Left hand to low back or heel. Revolved. Half up. More inhale. Exhale. Grip up high each side. Tight grip. You step the left foot in front and slowly lower down onto our back. The last round of strengthening for glutes. Turn the toes out to the side to lock them in place. Slide the right leg long. Hands on the floor by the hips. So just another round of 7. Right leg lifts up, hips lift up, hips down, leg down. Your 6, up and up, down and down. 5. And 4. 3. 2. 1 more. Beautiful. Feet drop down to floor. We've got one last round of arm strengthening to get us up. So stretch arms up overhead. Inhale, prep. Exhale, crunch to grab fabric. You get to choose how many pull-ups we do to come up to standing. When you're ready, just walk your feet backwards to feet all the way up. Good work, we made it. So here's our Shavasana point. If ever you have a day where you've had enough floating, you're ready to just lay on the floor, you could always have a grounded Shavasana. Otherwise, if you're wanting the flying Shavasana, come up to the top, mirror side of fabric, wave it out. With your thumbs. About half the fabric in the hands. And you'll head on in, laying back. Beautiful Shavasana. We've got a few minutes here just to let the body relax. Let it settle down. Perhaps as you're allowing body to start to kind of ground again, to settle into fabric or into the earth. Perhaps before you're completely in that restful state, you take another moment just to rub hands together, create that warmth, and place the base of the palms over the eyes. Imagining it's like we're introducing the eyes into Shavasana, that closed state. So introducing it with warmth, with whatever energy we'd like to imagine our hands transferring. And kickstarting this beautiful, restful, integrative state. Whenever it's natural for you to begin to settle just into the breath, allow arms to relax, allow body to relax. Be here for several more minutes, just breathing, giving the body permission to be comfortable and present. So we begin to deepen our inhales, our exhales. Introduce our little movements back to fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretching out in ways that feel really good for the body. Sometimes I'll let the arms stretch to the back wall, shoulders wiggle left and right a few times. Sometimes I'll take the floating fetal position. For whatever feels good, add some movements back to the body. Gradually returning to presence, awareness. Sooner or later, when you feel ready to rise, come up to a comfortable seated place. Hands together in front of heart when we make it there. Imagine we have a totally different vantage point now than we did even just an hour ago. And so then the question is, what do we do with this viewpoint that we have? This unique vantage point, this life that no one else has lived, just me. Perhaps moving forward with that sense of curiosity, continuing to try to open the eyes where maybe we kind of go through life blind almost. Or perhaps just continuing to search for fresh opportunities, new experiences to try. Either way, with this type of fresh perspective to lead us on, let's wrap up the time we shared together with the sound of Om. Deep inhale now. May we be filled with light, happiness, and peace. Namaste.